Today we're going to talk about what writers can learn about character from Disney's Encanto, their new animated film on Disney+. Be warned, today we do talk about Bruno, at least a little bit. Let's dive in. Encanto is part magical realism, part utopia/dystopia, part coming-of-age story. It's bright and colorful with entertaining characters and uplifting songs by the guy that wrote Hamilton. All of this makes for a spectacle that both kids and adults can enjoy. But it would be pretty empty and forgettable without a relatable story at the center of it. And a relatable story needs relatable characters. Enter the family Madrigal. Their town is protected by a magical candle, their house is alive, and everyone born into the family is gifted a special power when they turn 5, or something like that, 5 or 6-ish. Well, all but one of them, Mirabel, our main character, is who we're focused on today, so I'm really not going to talk about Bruno very much this time, but maybe next time. Encanto has a fun premise, but the best thing it does in terms of writing is establishing its characters, setting up their internal as well as external conflicts. The gifted characters, the characters who have magic gifted to them, seem to have it all. And Mirabel, the one who was left out, feels left out for not having a gift. But there's a twist. Each of the gifted characters feels a pressure upon his or her shoulders that Mirabel does not. Because the gifted characters, their perfect lives, supposedly perfect lives, are so wonderful when seen from outside in, but when they're felt from the inside, as Mirabel will come to learn throughout the story, the expectations are actually crushing them. None of them are particularly happy with bearing the weight of the entire family and the entire town upon their shoulders, gifts or no gifts. But Mirabel feels a different kind of pressure. She feels the weight of a lack of expectations. Some in the family seem to see her as a failure or a nuisance, even though she's done nothing wrong. The most that's asked of Mirabel is that she stay out of the way so that her gifted family members can do what they do best. This is the first thing Encanto does right with its protagonist. We can all relate to being underrated. People in general tend to root for the underdog because that's how we see ourselves. Even if we do have some power, we're always conscious that someone out there has more and can wield it over us. We all see ourselves as the underdog, at least in some respects. And this is true in general. Literally everyone is underestimated in some way. The nerd's athleticism, the athlete's intellect, the lawyer's honesty, the businessman's compassion. A person's public identity is bound to hide some aspect of their personality, their true personality, from the eyes of others. But it isn't just underdog status that makes us root for a character. She still has to feel like a character worth rooting for. This comes from the character's personal drive. We prefer to follow characters who are proactive, not reactive. If an underdog spends all her time whining, "Why me?" and bemoaning her underdog status, we're not going to be on her side. We want to follow a character who's committed to her cause, regardless of the resistance she faces. Mirabel succeeds in this as well. Though she may not be empowered like her cousins and siblings, she's just as dedicated to her family and community as they are, and she's committed to helping out and doing her part, gifts or no gifts. Her plucky, positive attitude and goodwill, even through the disappointment and hurt of being underrated and excluded, puts every audience member squarely in her shoes. We want her to succeed because she wants to succeed. And we want that even more because everyone else seems to think that she can't. So, a relatable protagonist is often underrated but still proactive. Beyond that, there's one more thing that will put us in the protagonist's penny loafers: a misunderstanding. Mirabel doesn't share the special gifts of her family, so her family, most importantly the family matriarch, Abuela, her grandmother, underrate her. In spite of this, Mirabel works tirelessly to help the family in any way she can. Yet when things within the house, and with the magic itself, begin to go wrong, Mirabel isn't credited with warning everyone and trying to help. Instead, she's blamed, particularly by Grandma, for the problems with the magic in the first place. If there is one feeling that is universal, shared by everyone, it's the feeling that nobody else understands us or what we're going through. We're all alike in feeling misunderstood by everybody else. So everyone can sympathize with Mirabel here. Everyone has been in her shoes. We've all done something meaning well or thinking that we meant well and had it be misunderstood or misinterpreted by those people who were the recipients of it. So we can all sympathize, and a sympathetic character is more relatable and, by consequence, more compelling than a character who we don't sympathize with. So yes, Encanto has a fun story, it has great visuals and an engaging soundtrack, but it would be less successful, more forgettable film if it didn't have a compelling and memorable protagonist at the core of it. Is Mirabel a perfect protagonist? Maybe not. I myself would prefer she had a deeper flaw, more of an arc to overcome her mistakes and grow as a person. But since she acts as a catalyst for the growth of many of the other characters in the film, we can reasonably overlook her own more static characterization, particularly when the film works so hard to get us rooting for her. So, these aren't the only traits you can give a protagonist, nor does every protagonist require any or all of these traits. But if you are trying to come up with a way to make your hero more compelling and relatable, consider this. These following questions. Is your hero an overpowered potential Mary Sue? If so, you might want to switch things up and make her the underdog. Who in the story might underrate your hero, and how will that affect her view of herself and the audience's view of her as well? Secondly, is your hero reactive, waiting for things to happen before she decides what to do? If so, get her out there ahead of the problem, actively seeking out her own solutions before she's forced into a corner. It's cool if she still gets forced into the corner, but when she does, it should be because of something out of her control, so we can sympathize with her. It shouldn't just happen because she sucks. It's very hard to sympathize with a character who gets themselves in trouble through their own laziness or lack of action. Okay, we want to sympathize with a character, we want to root for a character. Thirdly, does everyone in your story give your hero a fair shake or the benefit of the doubt? This is also a common mistake made with Mary Sue's. If this is the case, have someone of significance to your hero, somebody whose opinion matters, means something to them, misinterpret what she says or does, what the hero says or does, forming both an internal and external obstacle to the hero accomplishing her goal. The relatability of being misunderstood will get the audience hooked to how the misunderstanding gets corrected. It will make us want to know, how is this going to be resolved? We're going to be rooting for the protagonist to be finally understood. So these are just some things I learned by watching Encanto. I'll be applying these ideas to the next hero that I create. So you writers out there, have you seen Encanto yet? And if so, what did you think of it? Did you pick up any particular writing lessons from your viewing? Please answer in the comments below. Let's get the conversation going. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any writing tips or future breakdowns. Good luck and good writing. Peace.